Well, LGBTQ student groups are pretty commonplace nowadays on U.S. college campuses, but not at New York City's Yeshiva University, the flagship institution of the American Jewish modern Orthodox community. Now, earlier this year, though, a New York State court ruled that YU must officially recognize a student organization which calls itself Pride Alliance. Now the school has filed an emergency request appealing the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court, saying for it to do so would, quote, violate its sincere religious beliefs and cause irreparable harm to its students and community. Well, for more, let's go to our senior U.S. correspondent, Mike Wagenheim in New York. And Mike, we've seen similar such cases elsewhere at other religious institutions, but this happening there in the heart of New York, in maybe its most prominent Orthodox Jewish institution, this is going to be a very high-profile case, I would think.
No doubt indeed, and it's not as cut and dry, Calev, as a lot of those other religious freedom cases may be at other visibly religious institutions. Well, why is that? Well, you got to look back to Yeshiva University's founding, its charter, which essentially is its mission statement, which gives it permission to operate in New York State as a religious institution. Back at its founding and its charter, it's not classified as a religious institution. It's classified as a secular institution. Well, why was that? Because the founder of Yeshiva University wanted to make sure that the university was able to bring in federal dollars, federal funding, federal grants. That doesn't come with religious institutions. They're all privately funded. So now, essentially, well, they're paying the price just in another matter, because what the plaintiffs suing Yeshiva University here are saying is that because it's classified as a secular institution, it falls under New York State's human rights law and New York City's human rights laws, for that matter, which protect those that are traditionally discriminated against, minorities and other groups that have faced discrimination in the past. So the order here is that that Yeshiva University immediately allow this club to be a sanctioned university club. What Yeshiva University is asking the Supreme Court to do is not to overturn the lower court's decision per se, but to make sure that they're not immediately forced to implement this decision and to try to lay the groundwork for a further full appeal in front of an appeals court here in New York State.
That very interesting point, and it's Mike. This is a Supreme Court that certainly the current majority has been very sympathetic to what it calls religious freedom, and we'll see if it will have to extend that, and maybe in a precedent-setting decision on what some people have said is an institution that is in that sort of gray area.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But if there's a time to go to the Supreme Court, Calev, if you're Yeshiva University, now would be the time. It's obviously a sympathetic court toward religious freedoms. We've seen that obviously with the recent abortion ruling. We've heard a number of Supreme Court justices on the conservative side make public statements about, we're not so sure the separation of church and state is what it should be in America, that it should be lessened. Some have overtly said that there's too much separation of church and state. If there's a case for religious freedom to be made in front of the Supreme Court, the timing is at least good for Yeshiva University if it wants to make that case.
All right. Well, it's very interesting even to see that there is a gay student body there on Yeshiva University that has founded this club, which itself is a sign of change at the institution, and now would like to get some official recognition from the establishment there. So it will definitely be interesting to see how the court rules in this particular case. Mike Wagenheim there in New York City. Thank you for that.